All right, we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our inspirational interviews. Today, I have not one, but two guests for our inspirational interview. And these ladies have become very near and dear to my heart. Laura Hendricks and Tracey Thiele are very involved in what I am doing these days. And so I invited them to come on for an inspirational interview. Actually, this was Tracey's idea, and Laura and I had a similar conversation a while back too about talking about what is it like to be in a dynamic group and why we seek them out when we want to really enforce our growth and our evolution and participate in community. So we all met in 2018 when we were part of a training for yoga health coaching, and we all ended up in Mexico together. So I would love to hear from each of you as to why you were drawn to get that training in the first place to become a yoga health coach. Um, how about Tracey? Do you want to go first?
Sure. So it's so random how I have studied Ayurveda and nutrition for decades. And I've done different cleanses and informational, all kinds of workshops. And I was on some newsletter, and I got Kate Stillman's, just her information on Body Thrive. And it was at a point in my life where I had just turned 50, I think, or maybe 51. And my health was good. I've always eaten well, my weight's stable, but I felt that my life it was shifting in the sense that I didn't have enough energy. And I knew I was distracting with things like food, which really weren't an issue because I wasn't overweight. And I knew I could feel better than I felt. And I started napping on the weekends when I usually go for a long bike ride. And it really caught my attention. So I entered Kate's 10 Habit Body Thrive course. And it was through doing the habits for myself that I realized, oh my gosh, I can't believe how things shift by just aligning not only our what's, but our how's and when's. And I went from kind of dragging to, that year before I did Body Thrive, I didn't make a really long 60 some mile mountain bike ride that I had trained for. And this one, I kind of jumped into without training. I didn't plan to do it, and I had a friend do it. And I jumped in 3 days before, and I wrote the whole thing, and I was strong. And I just thought, oh my gosh, there was a transformation of what was available just by aligning into seasonal and daily rhythm. And so I thought, oh my gosh, it's crazy. Why don't we know this? And that's why I wanted to do the coach certification, because I think everyone needs to know about this, because it's not taking in something, it's just aligning with what's already there. Really simple.
Yeah, powerful. Definitely. How about you, Laura? What drew you to get trained?
Yeah, I had a really good friend who I'd known from years back. We used to be guides in Utah together. And she just called me up out of the blue. She had just gone through Kate Stillman's program. So she's trying to recruit people. And she says, I'm doing this stuff. I think you would love it. And I was coming off a summer of being super busy on the farm. And so she did kind of an intake. I was like, well, I'm curious. Let's talk about it. And she did an intake interview with me. And I never will forget. She said to me, so if you keep going the way you're going right now, how will you be or feel in 5 years? And what came out of my mouth was bitter and broken. And I didn't even know where it came from. And it just hit me. And then I was like, whoa, that's not a good projection. And she was like, well, so we talked, and I ended up jumping in her class. I was like, well, it sounds like I'm not on the right trajectory. And I would like to learn, I would like to, if I'm going to give someone money, I'd like to give a friend money, to learn something new. And I had never done an online course. I didn't really even, it was kind of a big deal to me. But we travel in the winter, and I thought, it could be portable. It could build a little bit of community, and I could be learning, which I love. So I jumped into her course and did Body Thrive, basically, and just loved it. And I thought, wow, I have got to share this. And I had been trying to find a way on our farm to kind of compartmentalize so many of these pieces. Like I had been teaching a little bit of yoga, a little bit of this, but it was kind of the package I was looking for that really simplifies how we can live in connection with the natural world and do it so gracefully. And I still need a lot of that. Like I still need, as my life transitions I go from Florida to Alaska, and I go from super busy summer to more off time. And I need to keep that steadiness and routine and the alignment. And so I got in. I thought, well, if I need this, other people need it. And I love to teach. I love to share. It's my passion. So that's how I got in. I was just like, well, I got to do it. And I jumped in.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yay. Yeah. So I was coming from a different perspective of I had been practicing Ayurveda, had a brick and mortar business one-on-one, seeing people, and was very drawn to this business model of working with groups and having location independence too, which was really exciting to me to think about. Oh, I could travel and still teach Ayurveda and help people be happier and healthier. And yes, like, you know, Tracey was saying, like, you learn this stuff and you're like, why doesn't everybody know this? Like, we must get the word out, you know? So feeling that call. So we all ended up in 2018 in Mexico, Punta Mita, Mexico. I had just started training. So Kate Stillman, if you all haven't gathered this yet, was the teacher that we all were working with at the time. I had just started. These ladies were ahead of me in their training, and I had just signed up for yoga health coaching. And I was like, okay, I'm going to take this big leap of faith and get on a plane and go to Mexico and meet all these other people that are already doing this work and just see what happens. So my memory of these ladies was that, so they were accountability partners, but had never met in person. And I witnessed their meeting in person for the first time. And what I remember were these two gorgeous blonde ladies across the airport being like, ah! And then like rushing towards each other, and then just being like, one's short and one's tall, and they're like these beautiful blonde hair flowing, and just being like, oh, and they just like hugged each other. And I was like, who are these ladies? Like, they look amazing. And yeah, so I was just like, I hadn't begun anything really at that point. And I showed up, and I was just like, I'm here to learn from everybody. So we ended up getting to know each other over the course of that retreat. Do either of you want to say anything about that time before we jump to what happened at the end when we were back at the airport leaving?
Well, Hannah, I'll tell you what I remember. I mean, I'm Vada, so I'm really communicative. I love to chat. So I can remember, like, after lunch, I'm chatting away and, you know, socializing. And you were over at the table, like, really implementing what we had learned. I remember looking at you going, she's going somewhere with this work. I'm just really enjoying the connecting, and it's super fun, but she's actually going to do something with it. That was my first impression of
One of my impressions, was when I met you, Tracey, just like, I was so excited to meet you because we'd been accountability partners for probably a year at that point. So speaking every week, I guess, I can't remember when in the program we did that, but we did for a while. And so, yeah, I remember being shocked at how tall you were. I was like, and I think you said the same, because on Zoom, we don't get perspective, you know? So it's just this funny piece that we're not used to not knowing about someone that we feel like we know so well. But I just remember feeling that connection so strongly of being so excited to meet you and then hug you and be like, oh my gosh, this person's real, you know, like just that solidness of connection. And then Hannah, one thing I remember about you from that was, I remember we didn't have a solid shuttle system to get to the airport, and you were all about it. Like, I was just kind of like, well, whatever. Well, I'll get there. I'll find a taxi or whatever. And Hannah, you were like, no, this should be handled. They said they were going to get us there. This should be, and you like made it happen. I was like, wow, she's really like, she's got that drive. she's gonna make things right. That's what I thought. Like that was your professionalism stepping in of like, no, this is not professional, and I'm gonna make it right.
Hannah made it right. And do you remember what I brought for transportation? I had the snacks. We were at the airport, sitting I'm like, oh my gosh, I made these cacao balls we never ate. Like I kind of forgot about them. And so I handed out my cacao balls, and you were like, both of you were like, these are amazing. What's in them? And then we started talking like, oh, let's recipe to collaboration. And so that was like really fun. She took things under matter, and I made sure we had like nutrition.
Yes. So yeah, so
Perfect.
the retreat was amazing. And then the three of us ended up back at the airport, flying out to go home. And we were sitting at a little table outside the airport, and we were like, we should do something together. Like this is an awesome connection. And at that point none of us were running courses, right? You weren't. Okay, and I wasn't either. And so we were like, well, we'll see what happens. And Tracey and I talked about collaborating on a cookbook at some point, and we were like, yeah, I was like, I want to come to your farm in Alaska and like bring people there, Laura. And so there, I just want to just say, like, little seeds were planted in that moment. Okay. Just for all of you listening. And for those of you watching right now, feel free to type in questions along the way. We're kind of reminiscing right now. We're getting to a deeper point here in a moment. And we were like, there's these these pieces being planted of like, we all see the potential here. We all see like that there's these pieces of knowledge that can help make people happier and healthier. We feel them in our own lives. And one of the things we were remarking on before we went live is that picture that I posted. That was from 2018. And we all look more inflamed. Like you can see like we've come a ways since then, just in our own physical appearance. And it's really interesting to see just that picture from 3 years ago and then like where we are now. And so moving forward, did you want to say something, Tracey?
I did. I just want to say, Hannah,
Yeah.
it's like there's this I don't know, this reality about aging, meaning, or not reality, I don't want to use that word. There's so much preconceived beliefs around aging. And looking at that picture, it's like, wow, we can age and actually get healthier and more radiant
Yeah.
and like feel better and more energy. And so that picture reminded me of that, like, wow, it's amazing. So 3 years have gone by, and how much more vibrant I feel as I've aged 3 years. And
Right.
so it's
Yeah.
really
So aging doesn't necessarily have to mean decline or um, reduced capability, right? It can be quite the opposite. Yeah, good point. So fast forward, Laura and Tracey ended up running a program together, similar to the Vitality Circle, in their own version with their own special skills brought to it. In the meantime, I launched the Vitality Circle. I also took a course of compassionate listening with Tracey, who's a facilitator of this process that Sherry Huber created. And then started seeing these ladies both popping in. They wanted to do my detoxes. And then what happened?
And then what happened, Hannah, COVID hit last March. And so we had done, I think I'd already done like 3 detoxes. So we were in community, and COVID hit, and Laura and I were just finishing a round of our course. And I thought, oh, it's COVID, and I've never actually challenged myself to yoga for 30 days. So we put it out to our course members. Our friend Hannah's doing yoga. Join us. I'm committing to showing up for 30 days. I'll send a Zoom link, and does anyone want to come join us? And so a bunch of our people came, and we did yoga with you for 30 days. And then Laura and I decided that, like, whoa, we really don't want to run a Zoom-based business. We just want to hang out with people doing the habits, and yeah. And so I'll let Laura chime in at this point before I tell any more about how then I ended up joining the Vitality Circle. But,
yeah, I think
Dad.
Yeah, I think Tracey, we were just figuring with COVID hitting and me not knowing what was happening with my business and was I even going to get back to Alaska? Like at that point, there were so many unknowns that I think you and I just pulled back. We're like, let's just hold off a minute. And we were really enjoying the yoga. Yeah, and so I think at that point, we just kind of put the brakes on and said, okay, let's just kind of put the feelers out and see what might feel a little bit better to each of us is where we were. Yeah. I think the whole running the business on Zoom was just not our piece of expertise. It was a piece we were both like, oh, like the marketing and all those pieces we found fairly challenging. We loved the work.
Yeah, online business.
Yeah, online business. And it was so interesting having that belief around online business and yet having the experience of how good it felt to connect on yoga each day. Mm-hmm. And I continued to connect on yoga. And I think we went maybe a month without our course. And I realized if I'm going to actually stay in integrity with continuing to grow, I need some structure. I not only need the structure, but I need that group dynamic. I mean, there's only so much we can see about oneself, and that we really need to be around others to learn about different ways of being and get inspired. So anyway, that's why I called Hannah. I'm like, Hannah, I need to be in a group. Can I come join your circle?
And I was totally shocked. I just want to say, I was equally shocked when Laura reached out. And
and the funny piece of that is that I did not know Tracey had reached out. So I had gotten back up to Alaska. Tracey and we had kind of stopped communicating because you had your car accident. And so you were just kind of in recovery. Yeah. And we were talking, but not like we didn't have our regular weekly talks like we had been doing, but we were checking in. And then I had just gotten to Alaska and run through my summer. And I was like, wow, without having the accountability of other people living these habits. Like I used to have my interns on the farm. I had gotten where we were all doing it together, but we didn't have interns that summer. Tracey and I weren't running our course, and I wasn't in the YHC program. And I was like, whoa, I really need some support here. And I reached out to Hannah and I was like, can we do a clarity call?
And I was shocked. Yeah. So I of course, am working on growing my online business and leading folks in the Vitality Circle. And I was totally just honored and humbled and very surprised when both of these ladies said, I would like to join your community, not knowing so Tracey joined in the summer and then Laura joined in the fall, and without having talked to each other about it. And I was just like, wow, if I am attracting these fellow yoga health coaches and also people that I admire incredibly into this program, I must be doing something right. Like it was a huge compliment. And what has evolved since then is that both of you have become part of what I now offer in the program. Before we get to that though, I'd love to hear a little bit more about you both just spoke to it a little bit, but what is it about being part of a dynamic group, participating in a group? It is a program, but it's really a community. Mm-hmm. It's being part of conversations, it's being around other people virtually that are having the same conversation that you're wanting to have, and how many of us have that? I used to feel that way. Like I loved where I lived and I loved my friends, but I had this feeling of like, nobody's having the conversation that I want to be having or that I need to be having at this point about health or wellness or mindset or personal evolution or potential. Like, what are we all capable of, And so I'd get real excited about all these things and then be like, where do I go with this? Right. So I would just love to hear from each of you, just like, what is it about that community piece that you both realize is vital to your health and happiness at this point in your life? Who would like to go first?
I can jump in there. I
Okay.
think for me that the connections of the group have been something I did not expect to be such a piece, a core piece of my growth and evolution. And I think a big part of that is hearing other people's stories and recognizing how much we all go through life so differently. We experience life so differently. And that has helped me get out of my head and just realize there's just so many ways to go about things. And then just being able to, within that, feel supported, sharing anything I need to share without judgment, without anyone even really trying to solve it, like just putting it out there. And that's been a new piece for me. And it's been the growth I have had on like I already knew the habits, right? I came in knowing the ideas and the concepts of everything. And then, but the growth component of just getting behind these deeper layers has all come through this communication with these amazing group of people that also want to be evolving and growing. So we're holding each other up, but we're also pushing each other in a way to like take that step. Like, we're here for you. Like, we're here for you. You can lean back into us and take that step. And as you watch more and more people doing that, you gain the confidence that, wow, okay, I might fall and that's okay, but I can step. And so for me, that has been such a huge part. And it's not always easy, right? Like, I'm in a growth phase right now that's really challenging. And I know that that's okay. I know that that's growth, and I'll get to the other side. And I yesterday had a really long talk with one of the Vitality sisters about it. You know, I was just like, I need some support today, and I got it. So that to me is just, that's been my greatest joy of it all.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Tracey, is your heart overflowing?
Hey, apologies.
No need to apologize.
I noticed the tears start when you mentioned my car accident.
Mm.
And I had just joined the Vitality Circle. And I had a separation and, collision rollover. And, so much of habit evolution is being okay with discomfort. And so here I was handed like, wow, double whammy of discomfort, emotional discomfort, and really intense physical discomfort. And the medical guidance right after the accident was to lay as still as possible and try not to move, just to settle my system, because I had head injuries and neck injuries and lower spine injuries. And I was mostly just laying still. And I talked to you, Hannah, and you said, I mean, your motto is do what we can with what we have. And it's just your heart. I mean, what your business runs is just who you are. And I remember you saying, like, well, just connect, just listen to our yoga. And I never would have thought of that on my own. So every morning I tuned in, and as I laid still, I'd listen to the yoga. And over time, like 10 days in, medical guidance was like, okay, you can roll your wrists and your ankles. And about 2 weeks in, I could do a pelvic tilt. And I just listened every day and just did what I could. And that's so much about being in a dynamic group. Yes, I've been doing these habits for, 4.5 years. And it's not the habits. I mean, the habits are extraordinary in getting us into a rhythm where we can be in our bodies and be in our mind and emotions, that it's not pulling us into places of suffering, that we can really know how to balance and be who we are, which we're all so unique. And it just keeps getting better, as life throws challenges. And, this year in particular for me, I just, found a place of real resiliency and ease through a lot of challenges, business wise. And that happens because of being in a group and learning, really getting into deep relationship with people of different constitutions and different ways of being. Um, and I know Laura and I have been accountability partners for so long, and we're both Vata. We have some similarities. And then I noticed, like, wow, I'm really drawn to Kaphas, or more grounded and balanced. And so I asked a Kapha to be my accountability partner, because I'm like, I want to learn more traits about, inviting Kapha. And so it's just, where else is that possible, of getting into a relationship where we just want to support each other, being as whole and balanced, and just really being able to be who we are in a real full way, so we can just relax into the connectiveness that is here when we're not so obsessed with, what am I going to eat? And, how about elimination? And I'm not sleeping well, kind of work through those things. And then we can, there's so much more available, and we just get happier. It's just so good.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, being so vulnerable, because it is that space that we enter into, that is it in the dynamic evolution. It is really welcoming discomfort at times, but it's so that we get to the place where there's a lot more ease, a lot more self acceptance, self-love, and grace that we find with ourselves, and then that just radiates out and extends to others. So yeah, I love hearing that from both of you. Just really powerful. So we're coming to the end of our time here. It's amazing how, we lost Laura. Oh, there she is. Okay. We're rearranging here. So what we've evolved to at this point, and we'll see how things continue to change and grow, is that both of these ladies have shown up now in my world, and I'm like, I want to have people have access to them too. And so both of them are incorporated into my programs. So Tracey leads habit implementation in the Vitality Circle, and Laura is the assistant for Evolve, which is the new program I just launched last month. And so it feels so wonderful to me to have both of you in leadership roles in the community, in addition to being members. And I think that is really the key piece, that we're in. We live in a world where our progression tends to be linear. We look at progression in terms of linear movement from point A to point B, and we also look at our systems of education in hierarchy, right? That there's somebody who's the teacher and somebody who's the student, or somebody who's further along and somebody who's behind, right? And what I love about the Vitality Circle, and I strive to participate in this, I am the leader of it, the creator of it, and I hold the container for it. And yet I really strive to help people know that I'm on this journey too. We never arrive somewhere. We're still always learning and growing. And these layers get more subtle. You leaders and as members. So thank you for showing up with your hearts, and really recognizing, I feel like I've learned a lot from both of you, the importance of dynamic groups. Like, it shocked me when each of you of your own accord came to me and said, I see the importance of being part of a dynamic group. Your group looks amazing. Can I join it? That I was like, oh, right. This is so important. Even if you have the knowledge, even if you know what to do, even if you teach other people, that having that support and that like putting yourself in the community that you want to be in, advocating for that for yourself is so important. And it's been beautiful to witness both of you doing that, and a huge honor to be the founder of the community that you both want to be in. So thank you both. Um, any parting words from either of you before we sign off here?
Yeah, I'd just like to say thank you so much, Hannah, for providing a space for me to grow so well and believing in me to step up. You know, that's been a huge part of it too for me, is just that true friendship of yours and just the support. And of course with Tracey too, but just being a part of all of this has been a huge gift in my life.
Yeah,
Thank
me.
you.
And I just, and it's, you know, there's so many offerings out there, and Laura and I know tons of people doing this same work and offering courses, and that you not only embodying what is possible when you know, establish a rhythm that makes you unstoppable, and you can really just start really being who you are, 100% of true authenticity, and the heart that comes with that. Not only are you running a business, but just the heart and care and love and friendship and belonging. And it's just really, really, really special that it can be both, that you can be a viable business and be able to offer the care and love and support and all the ways that it's kind of webbed in there. It's really just, it's just a huge blessing. Huge. So thank you.
Thank you. I'm taking that all in. That's really, really amazing to receive. Thank you both so much. I've loved just being with you all, but thanks for coming on here today and sharing a bit about our collective story as well as your individual stories. And I look forward to continuing the journey with both of you and seeing where it goes. So thanks so much. We'll be in touch soon. And if you all who are watching have questions, feel free to post them below. We're all in this group, so we can all respond. All right. Have a beautiful afternoon, everyone. We'll see you all soon. Bye.